Another week, another news cycle, and we have an interesting piece of news that I resonate with personally in this case, and it's about FIFA 21. So it is alleged that some EA employees, EA, the company that makes FIFA, are selling FIFA Ultimate Team players illegally directly to players for thousands of dollars. And I saw this 5 days ago on Sky News, and I was waiting for an update whether this is real or just, people scamming each other. People sometimes come up with creative ways to scam each other and then pretend that they will give a player away, and then that's what's happened. But apparently not, because a few days after, EA actually came out with a public statement saying that in these cases they have recognized that there are some instances where players were given out, in-game players were giving up to people illegally. And I was like, when I read this, I was, not shocked, but very intrigued, because it's obvious in a way. FIFA is a very, very, very popular game. And when you have a very popular game, there are some items in the game that would be in high demand and people would pay for. And that existed before FIFA, but FIFA was the first game that I knew did loot boxes and pack openings and in-game currency inside a game since way back in 2010 or somewhere around that time. On console, I know that this existed in PC games for a long time, but on console, FIFA maybe has done it first. Maybe there's another game that has done it first, but not to this popularity. And this is quite interesting because how did this happen? The first instance, I thought, wow, how did this happen? Obviously, they need to have a system to replace lost players. So let's say there was a glitch, your internet disconnected, and you lost a player. If you report to EA, say, hey, look at my thing, fix the problem. A problem happened because of you, help me get my player back. So they have a system in which they create players and refund the player back to the individual who lost it. So that system exists. There is also another system where they give items away if you watch their Twitch stream, or if you collect Amazon Prime deals, or you are a player and you have your custom 99 card. That already exists. And also, you have to think about testing. So this game goes through testing, vigorous testing, I'm sure, and at some point they have to test the players, and someone has to have access to the players. And in their statement, they're saying it didn't go through the traditional methods, which was refunding a player, because they make all the players untradeable. And they're saying there are some employees, so I'm guessing this is the refund thing. A developer would have access to creating players or refunding players. In some cases where these individuals abuse their power and then sell it for thousands of dollars, probably more than what they're making when they're developing the game. It is the case with every popular game with the high demand of things, and regulating it is a bit confusing because someone has to have access to refund or give back a player if there's a case where it glitched out on them. And I guess better monitoring or stricter rules. They're saying they're looking into it, but because this game is such a cash grab anyway, I'll tell you what I mean by that. Because you open packs and it's like it's a game of chance basically. You're rolling a dice and hoping to get that rare player, but that rare player is so rare that some people with a lot of money are willing to pay to get that player. And they'll find a way somehow, maybe just buy an account with that player and so on. And this ignited the conversation in my head whether or not these are gambling situations. In Belgium, for example, FIFA has banned the selling of FIFA points. So they can't sell you directly in-game currency to buy these loot boxes. And you might be thinking, oh, hundreds of games have that nowadays. Call of Duty has that, Fortnite has that, and so many other games, so who cares? Well, there is a difference actually, because normally when other games do this, and they are also under the same level of scrutiny, they use it for aesthetic purposes. So it's just cosmetic changes to the game. While FIFA, if you have these cards, you have a clear advantage in competitive games. And it matters if you have these players or not. And they are considering changing the way this works in some governments and organizations, saying, look, teenagers are maybe more impressionable and you are getting them to gamble. And EA's response is, you are parents, you are responsible, so why not just lock the payment feature? Someone has to own the credit card, so block it, and then they would not have access to such a thing. And it's a two-sided story, but this is very interesting. Apparently some employee found a way to sell and meet the demand. Wherever there's demand, there's gotta be a supply. And this time it's apparently from inside EA, the developer themselves. So the second story is Apple. They have discontinued the Homepod. In a previous video, I talked about how I don't like having smartwatches. And this HomePod is not a smartwatch, obviously. It's a smart assistant speaker system thing that Apple sold. And the problem with it, apparently, why they discontinued it, is it doesn't sell enough. And they have Apple came out with a statement that says, HomePod Mini has been a hit since its debut last fall, offering customers amazing sound, intelligent assistant, and smart control all for $99. We are focusing our efforts on the HomePod Mini. We are discontinuing the original HomePod. It will continue to be available while on you get the idea. So their statement focuses on the HomePod Mini. They're saying, oh, the HomePod Mini, it just costs $99, so why even bother with selling the older, more expensive model that cost in the beginning $350, and then they brought down the price to $299, $300. And apparently that didn't work as well, because I don't know anyone who owns this HomePod. It is so expensive, it's big, it's bulky, and Siri isn't even that great. Why would you have that? And personally, I don't really find the use cases for these devices. I don't use voice assistant unless when I'm using my phone and setting up a timer, and probably that's it. Maybe ask about the weather, I don't know. I don't use it that much, so I don't think, for me, if the rest of the Apple customers are like me, they don't like the HomePod because it's so expensive and the feature set is limited. So RIP, the big HomePod, and HomePod Mini is here to stay. Next Apple story is the very, very anticipated AirPods 3. And apparently it leaked. And these pictures that I happen to see on 9to5Mac show the entire design. And what is noteworthy is they look like AirPods Pro without the sealed tips, without the plastic interchangeable tips. And from the outside, it would look like AirPods Pro. The design is a mixture between the normal AirPods and AirPods Pro. And this article is citing that it might be just a visual change, maybe a slight audio change, maybe a slightly improved battery. They're saying the battery case will be smaller. Many people disliked the long stem thing. I have my AirPods right there. I love them. I love how they look. Honestly, I don't really bother. They don't really bother me the way they look. So this is a new change. There are discounts going crazy on the current generation AirPods and even AirPods Pro. This is because it is anticipated that this will drop, so it will be harder to get rid of these older models. Noteworthy though is that it will have the same chip. It will not have the special spatial audio, and it will not have the noise cancellation. Maybe it will have the spatial audio, but it will not have the noise cancellation or the transparency mode. And if you are looking to buy the next new thing by Apple, the next accessory for your iPhone, maybe you wanna hold on and not buy AirPods. And you can see how they look. This is how they look. They look pretty bang in the middle between AirPods and AirPods Pro. So yeah, I guess this is what's new from Apple. Next story really excites me because I'm really into electric cars. Actually, I'm doing a little bit of research for my university regarding that. And it is that Toyota is teasing an electric car reveal on March 17th, which is a few days from now, actually, 2 days from now. So on March 17th, what they're saying is they just posted this picture, apparently, that has the word X Prologue and nothing else. You see the headlight, you see the Toyota logo, you see X Prologue. And it's up to you to join the hype and speculate on what this thing is. This article on The Verge is saying that this might be the new electric RAV4 model by Toyota. It might be a new lineup. It's the first electric car that they have, fully electric car that they have developed for the mass market, apparently. And this also has a personal, because obviously I'm into technology and electronics and electricity and power saving and future and all of that. But also because recently when my dad wanted to buy a car, we were going to showrooms and stuff. And one of the showrooms was Toyota's, and the cars there, I was asking about the cars and anything electric I asked. They said, well, there is an electric hybrid, which is the Prius, and there's a Camry model that's also a hybrid, and there is no demand for it in Bahrain. So I don't know how that works out. Will the demand increase as the popularity elsewhere is increasing, or will it stay the same? No to little interest when it comes to electric cars in the Middle East and Bahrain in specific because of the low gas prices. So they will reveal it in 3 days. I will see it, and maybe next week I'll talk about it even more. I really want to have an electric car in the future, own one. And yeah, exciting. I don't know how it looks. We just know this poster, and that's it. Toyota are developing electric cars, more electric cars to come. The final story, the strange story of the day, is about Netflix. Netflix are testing a feature that could limit password sharing. So in all honesty, I use my sister's account here in the UK. And I use it to watch Netflix, obviously. And apparently they're testing this feature that would ask viewers to verify if they are in the same household as the account holder. So the way they would do this is they will give you a notification when you open the app, and then they would ask you to write some kind of code that confirms that you are in the same house. So they would send a code to the owner, and then you'd ask the owner, and then you would verify. You can't do it later, and apparently the idea is you'd delay it so many times, and then it would just lock you out and tell you to open a new account to continue watching. And the approach Netflix take on this is interesting, but it's expected. They say, oh, it is designed to help ensure that people using Netflix are authorized to do so, and password sharing, controversial security, and whatnot. And they are currently the world's largest streaming service. There are so many streaming services right now. And maybe if they are able to crack down and get all the money possible from as much potential customers as possible, maybe they will get a tighter grip on the streaming market. But maybe it's just testing features that maybe they just see how they look. Maybe the prompt is enough to make people buy the subscription. We'll wait and see. Will they lock me out? I'll keep you updated. Anyway, that's it. This is the final piece story. I hope you enjoyed, and see you next week.